Hello everyone! Today's video will be part 2 of the Garden Flowers series. If you like flowers, I'm sure you will enjoy this one. Let's get into it! For today's tutorial, I'm going to be using the Sublime Watercolor pack and the Petit grain canvas. Everything will be linked below. I've drawn a simple sketch that you can download and use, so let's go ahead and insert that. And so here is the sketch. Let's go to the layers panel and make a new layer so that we can start to color. I also made a color palette that you can use. We're going to use this light peachy color first and use the hard edge round brush. Now we're just going to start coloring the base of this tulip, going from the bottom to the top. For a flower like this, you won't really want to fill in the entire petal or the tulip because you'll want to use different shades of this peachy color. So here I'm just going to color the bottom portion of this tulip and leave some areas for darker colors. Now let's move up a shade, this orangey color here, and color over the middle section of each petal. As you can see, I'm coloring over the first layer. It's okay because we're going to be using the basic blender to blend out all of these colors. Once you're done with this color, you'll then go back to the color palette and use the next color here, which is a little bit darker. And you'll want to repeat this until you get to the reds. Next orange is getting bolder and bolder. Once you get to a certain stage, you can definitely blend it out first before adding the next color. So I think after this, I am going to use my basic blender to blend everything out. I'll just add a little bit more red here, well, reddish orange. And I'm just going to grab the basic blender now and blend out all of these colors. So you can try to make everything smooth. When you're blending, it's important to think about the shape of the petal and how it is placed on the flower. So I'm just trying to kind of mimic that roundness of the petal here. Since some of these areas are not yet colored, I'm just going to fill these spots in with a darker orange and continue to add different shades of red. So just like before, you'll want to add bolder colors to build up that intensity at the top. I'm just now filling everything in so that there are no blank spots. Along the top of the petal, I'm going to use this reddish color. And once you add this shade to the other petals, you can also then use the basic blender to blend everything out. Once you're happy with the results, you can combine these layers together. And you'll make a new layer on top and make that a clipping mask. And we're now going to start using the stamps. So let's go here to the very bottom and pick out this splotch and use a dark red. And I'm just going to stamp it along the top of all of the petals. This is just an easier way to add more color and depth. Now, using the hard edge round brush, you can add some lines like this in between the petals just to indicate that they're all separated. Once you're done with that step, you can grab the tiny blender, this brush here, and soften this line. It's important to soften it to make it look like real watercolor. Now I'm just going to add some finishing touches. So I'm going to grab a dark red, go back to the hard edge round brush and add a bit more on the top. It's good to add different shades like this to enhance the realness of the flower. And once you're done that, obviously you can blend it all out using the basic blender. And now I'm just going to make a new layer on top and grab this water drops brush. And this is an optional step. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. But if you want to make your tulip have this loose colored effect, then you can add some water drops like this. And once you're done that, you can make a new layer on top and grab this splatter stamp and grab a whitish color and just stamp it along the top of the flower. Just trying to see if it looks good or realistic. I don't like some of these spots, so I'm just going to erase it. And now we can move on to the stem. So let's combine all of the layers together. Oops, not the sketch layer, just the flower layer. And then I'm going to make a new layer on top, and that is where we'll color the stem. So let's grab a light green and go back to the hard edge round brush and start to color the stem. After the first layer, you'll want to color over the areas that will have shadows, so underneath the flower here and some parts of the stem as well. And once you're done that, you can just blend it out using the tiny blender like this. And just like how we've colored the tulip, you'll want to make new layers on top of this base layer and use stamps to enhance the overall color and just add more water flows and marks to make it look like real watercolor. So I made that clipping mask layer right now, and I'm just going to use the Bloom #1 stamp and use a darker green to enhance some of these areas. Just zooming in and out to see how it looks like overall. It needs a bit more color, so I'll just keep on stamping. And now let's move on to the next flower. So let's make a new layer. And we'll grab a light blue and go back to the hard edge round brush and just start to color this top area here. I'm just going to use circular motions like this. And once you've done that, you'll have to blend it all out using the basic blender. Let's grab a darker shade of blue and color over the first layer like this. Again, using a circular motion like this, trying to create little flowers. Just like how we've colored the tulip, you'll want to use different shades of blue to make the flower look realistic and to have some parts kind of pop from the rest. And if you feel that you have enough, you can blend it out like this, just to kind of smudge it a little bit and make it look like real watercolor. Just zooming out to see that it needs a little bit more. So I'm just going to add more to the top of the flower like that. And it's basically rinse and repeat from here. Add tiny little buds like this and blend it out. So this is the finished piece. I've colored the stem and just kind of duplicated one of the flowers and turned it around. So that's how you can easily make another flower. And I've combined it with the part 1 flowers, and this is how it looks like. If you have enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe and hit that notification bell for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.